to our Grow with GoGo series. Before we get moving, just a reminder of some of the other services GoGo provides. You can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services, just by calling one phone number, and that number is 855-464-6872. And that spells out, if you have the numbers or the letters on your phone, that's 855 GoGo USA. Makes it easy to remember. Also a reminder that at the bottom of your receipts, your GoGo receipts that you get, you have a referral code. And so you can give that code to a friend. And if they take their first or use a GoGo service, they get $10 in credit, and so do you. So just a little extra perk we have for you. We also have a Facebook group. So if you ever want to continue these conversations online, you can join us on our Facebook group, and we'll throw that in the chat as well so that you can link over there if you want to connect with other GoGo members. And then finally, we'll get going. So if we have not met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and functional fitness class here at GoGo. So today we have functional fitness. You don't really need that much. If possible, a chair would be great. We stand most of the class, but we sometimes sit down for the functional fitness. Whereas in yoga, we mostly sit. Today for functional fitness, we mostly stand. I have a pair of light dumbbells, so maybe 1 to 3 pounds if you have them. If you don't have dumbbells, don't worry about it. You don't have to have dumbbells. You might also choose to grab some water bottles, or like 16-ounce water bottles, or cans, or whatever you have around the house, or nothing at all. You can always pretend that you're carrying something, and that'll give you a little bit of resistance. Before we get moving, does anyone remember our functional fitness move of the week? Not the yoga move from last week, but the functional fitness move. Yes, tell me.
Deadlifts.
Nice job, Bertha. Well done. Good memory. Good memory. Okay, I'm gonna.
And I did enough deadlifting during these 2 weeks.
Yes. Okay, good. I hope you were careful with how you were doing it, not bending your back too much.
Yes, I was.
Good.
Taking clothes out of the dryer and another movement.
Yeah. That's a really good. So if anyone else has I'm guessing that was a front loading dryer.
Yes.
To think about, how are you getting your things out of the dryer? And if you missed our class last time for deadlifting is when you kind of hinge forward and keep your back flat and you bend your knees. And that's great to think about. Okay, either front loading dryer or washer is, how do you do this movement without really curving and rounding your spine? So nice job, Bertha. I hope other people also did it. I'm sure you did. I can't always see everybody's videos, so if other people were showing it to me, I may have missed it. Anyways, all right, enough of me talking. Let's move. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So you will probably see me. Oh, and I see someone's telling me they're in Alabama, and someone else in South Carolina. Great. Okay, so if you can't see me, if I'm not your main screen and you want me to be your main screen, you can go to the top right-hand corner of your computer on Zoom. That Zoom, and there's a thing that says view, and you can click the view button and you can choose speaker view, and that will make me the biggest video. You can also choose gallery view if you want to see everyone else while you're exercising. Okay, let's just shake it off a little bit. Shake out your arms and legs, stand up. Just release any excess tension. And then plant those feet. Pause. Maybe close the eyes if you have the balance to close the eyes and stand. And without changing anything, just notice how your body lands. Where do your feet land? How does your spine stack? Is your weight forward on the feet, back on the feet, more to the right, more to the left? So notice. Also noticing where your legs are. Are your legs pointing straight forward? Is a leg turned out? Also noticing your arms. Where do your arms rest? Are they forward of your legs, right next to your legs? Are your arms turned slightly in or out? There's no right or wrong. We're just noting, how does the body position itself? And how does your head sit on the spine? And now let's see if we can even out our position. So letting your feet be parallel, so the toes are pointing forward. And see if you can find even weight on those feet. So even weight front to back, right to left. So grounding into the feet equally. See if you can find the length in the spine. And that your pelvis is directly over your heels. See if you can allow those shoulders to be relaxed and the back of the neck to be long. And just notice, is this any different from how you were positioned previously? And then blink open the eyes if your eyes are closed. And let's inhale, open up the arms, lift the chest and press your tail back behind you. So we're stretching the front of the body. And then exhale, round your back, tuck your tail, bring the backs of the hands to touch. So we stretch our back body. We inhale, open up the front of the body, warming up the spine, and exhale, open up the back of the body. Keep going, follow your breath. And then make your way back to center, release the arms, and begin to bend side to side. So just getting a little side body stretch here, noticing where you may have tension. And then bringing yourself back to center, bring your fingertips to your shoulders, if that's okay, on your arms, and bend your knees. Keep your lower body stable. So try not to move your lower body and twist your upper body. So we're twisting at the spine, finding motion in the torso and not as much in the legs. And then coming back to center, releasing the arms, releasing the legs, shaking it off. All right, we're gonna start with a little bit of balancing today. So it can be helpful to be by a chair or a wall. So I'm gonna go behind my chair. You don't have to face sideways. I'm just facing sideways so it's easy for you to see. So fingers on the chair, on the wall, or on a table. We're going to bend our right knee. Foot goes behind us, and we're just going to circle that ankle one direction. So I know we can't see the foot because it's behind us, but we're just bending at the knees, circling the ankle one way. And then go ahead and circle the other direction. Release the foot and switch sides. So standing on the right leg, we bend the left knee, finding a little bit of balance here, and then circling the ankle one direction. And circling the other way. Releasing the foot. And then we're going to stretch out. So hands stay on your chair, on your table, or on your wall. You're going to walk those feet back, create an upside down L position. So as you walk those feet back, those hips are going to be directly above those feet, and your torso is moving towards parallel to the earth. Of course, if this is not comfortable, stay up higher so you can have your chest lifted. You can even be closer to the chair if that's more comfortable. So be kind to your body, only move in ways that feel good and safe. 3 deep breaths. Knees can always bend if this is too much on the hamstrings. And then walk yourself forward once again. Continuing on with a little bit more balance. We're going to stand on a tightrope. So our right foot will step in front of the left, like we're standing on a tightrope or a balance beam. Fingertips stay on the chair for a moment. Steady your gaze. So look straight ahead at you, and find a spot to look at. Find a spot to stare at. That can help steady your balance. You can stay here, or if you want a little more challenge, maybe you go to just one finger per hand. You can stay here, or you can hover your hands above your chair or support. So finding that balance. Knowing that you can always grab onto your support if you lose it. Hands come back to your chair, and we'll switch. So stepping that right foot back, left foot stands in front of the right. So we're standing on that balance beam on that tightrope. First, finding something to stare at that's not moving to steady your balance. Feel those feet firmly planting into the earth. You can stay holding the chair. You could do just 1 or 2 fingers on the chair. You could hover your hands above the chair. Find the level that works for you. Challenge yourself a little bit, but not so much that it feels unsafe. Hands come back to the chair, stepping your left foot back next to the right. Resetting. We're going into some hamstring curls here, so we're going to keep having the chair in front of us or the table in front of us. So for our hamstring curls, we're going to start with the right leg. We bend the right knee, so foot goes behind us, just like when we were doing those ankle circles. Except for I want you to notice where your knees are. Watch that that right knee doesn't slide forward. So what I'm doing right now, we don't want to do that. We want to keep the knees next to each other. So knees are directly next to each other. And then think about your tail. I want you to think about your tail, and I want you to drop your tail between the legs. You're tucking your pelvis under. The tail drops and the pubic bone pulls towards the belly button. You might already start to feel your hamstrings more. If you want more sensation in the back of the leg, maintain this position. So maintain the knees next to each other, maintain the drop of the tail, and continue to bend your knee. So you could bend your knee more than 90 degrees, and you might feel a little more sensation in those muscles in the back of the leg. If you're not feeling it, notice what your spine is doing. Can you keep your spine quiet? Don't let your ribs thrust forward, so chest is down and relaxed. Knees are next to each other. It's up to you how hard you bend. One more breath here. And then release the leg. Shake it off if you need. And then we go to the other side. So we bend the left knee. Again, notice left knee stays next to the right knee. Don't let it slide forward. So sliding it forward, you lose a lot of that hamstring contraction that we want to find. So left knee is directly next to the right. But as you pull that leg back, watch that your tail does not go behind you. So what I'm doing right now is not what we want either. We want to drop the tail between the legs. So the back is nice and long. Pubic bone's pulling slightly towards the belly button. And then it's up to you how hard you bend. And then keep checking in, checking those spots. Are my knees next to each other? Is my tail dropped? Are my ribs relaxed? How bent is my knee? And release. We do that one more time each side. So knees next to each other. We bend the right knee. Bend it as much as you'd like. Drop your tail. Keep your upper body quiet. So the upper body's not doing much movement here. I like foot flexed. You probably get more sensation with the foot pointed. So if you're not feeling it, point your foot. You might feel a little more. And then release. Other side. Bend the left knee. Last one of these. Heel reaches towards the glutes. Knees are next to each other. If you want, you can point the foot. You might feel more sensation. Drop the tail. One more breath. And release. Shake it off. All right, let's grab those weights. So just being mindful of how you grab them. We're going to give our lower body a little break. And we're going into some overhead presses with bicep curls. So we're combining two movements, or two exercises in one today. We're going with a hammer curl. So that's when those palms are gonna stay facing towards each other. So here I have my weights, my knuckles are down and out, palms are facing towards each other. We bend the elbows into a bicep curl, and then we go into an overhead press, pushing those arms to the ceiling. We rebend and lower the arms. So continuing just like this. Bicep curl, overhead press. If you start to get tired, you can alternate and do one arm at a time. Totally fine. So you can always go down to doing one arm at a time if you need a little break. Or you can just take a break, let your arms dangle by your side for a few breaths. Couple more. All right. We're going into some side lunges. If you're in socks, I recommend you take them off, just so you don't slip, unless you have grippy things on the bottom of your socks. You can keep holding your weights, bringing your weights in front of you. Otherwise, put your weights off to the side. We're going to take your legs nice and wide. So feet go wide. So we're going wider than the shoulders. Toes point slightly out. Heels are slightly in. You can always play with the angle of where your feet are positioned. You're going to bend one knee and let your torso come forward. So I'm going to do it facing this way and then I'll turn so you can see a different angle. So we bend one knee, one leg is straight, my hips go back. So you might feel a little inner thigh stretch and come back to center. And then we switch. So we bend the other knee, hips go back, torso comes forward. One leg is straight, one leg is bent. Both feet stay planted on the ground the entire time. Back to center. I'm going to give you a kind of a slight side angle. We bend one knee, hips go back. And up. And bend. And up. So keep going here. And feel free to play with how your feet are angled. So if it's more comfortable for them to face forward, that's fine. Just watch that your torso comes forward and your hips go back. The spine stays long, so there's no bending at the back. The weights aren't creating that much more challenge here for your legs because they're pretty light, but it helps you keep your chest lifted to hold those weights. Also might challenge your biceps because your elbows are bent, holding those weights up. Couple more. Even yourself out, so you've done the same right to left. And then come back to center, pull those legs back together. Grabbing those weights if you put them down. We're going back to the bicep curl with the overhead press. So we're going to repeat these exercises twice. So we just did one full round, now we go into our second round. So bicep curl, overhead press, and lower the weights. Couple more. And then go ahead and release, relax. Either keep holding your weights or put them down to the side. We're going back to our side lunges. Weights come in front of you if you're holding them. Legs go wide, wider than the shoulders. You can play with how your feet are turned, slightly out or forward or more out. Doesn't matter. Make it comfortable, make it feel safe and good on the body. We bend one knee, hips go back, chest stays lifted, but the torso comes slightly forward. And we switch. So one leg is straight, one knee is bent. Both feet stay planted on the ground the entire time. So if your foot is peeling off the ground, make the movement smaller. You don't have to go super low. Let's even ourselves out. So you've done about the same right to left if you remember which side you started on. And come back to center. Pull those legs back together. Shake it off. All right, this next exercise is pretty hard, so you might find, or I think it's hard, you might find that it's better without weights. So I'm going to start with weights, but feel free to put down the weights whenever you'd like. We're going to bring the arms out towards a T position. So we're not actually going to go directly out to the side. My arms are just slightly forward, so you can see that from the side view that I'm not directly out to the side. I'm just maybe an inch forward from the side and then back down. So up and down. So I personally find these challenging. Some people might not. So if you're finding that this is hard as you go up and down, maybe you put down the weights, or maybe you alternate arms, or maybe if you're putting down the weights, imagine that you're moving through something sticky, some mud, some jello, some peanut butter, some honey, something with resistance. On your way down, make sure you lower down with control so you're not just plopping those arms down. Couple more. And then let those weights rest. We're going into heel raises. Now, if you have balance challenge, then you can always hold on to your chair or table or wall. If you want more challenge, you hold on to the weights. So you can either do no weights with balance, you can do no weights and holding onto the chair, or you can do weights. Feet are parallel, so toes are pointing forward. All 10 toes are pointing forward. We're going to lift up onto our tippy toes, heels rise, and then lower back down with control. So again, feel free to get rid of your weights. Feel free to use your chair for balance. Make this work for you. Couple more. All right, and then we're going back to those arm raises. Arms go out to the side, so grab your weights if you put them down, and then back down. So we're just repeating what we did earlier. The arms go slightly forward, so they're not just directly out into a T, they're just a tiny bit forward. They're not way forward. They're maybe a couple of inches ahead of what it would be if they were at a T position. Couple more. Might feel a little more burn now. Second time around. And release, relax. So going back to those heel raises. So feel free to put your weights down. Feel free to grab your chair or hold your weights. You have those three options. No weights with balance, no weights holding the chair or weights in your hand. It doesn't matter. Find what works for you. Heel raises. Couple more. Great, and release, shake it off. All right, let's put those weights down and we're gonna stand next to our chair or wall or table. I'm just turning it sideways so you can see me better. You don't need to move where you are. So left hand on the chair. We're going to stand on our right foot. Left foot goes behind us and lift the left foot off the ground. We're going into, and you can bend the knee if you need. One-legged deadlifts with straight legs first. So it's a variation of a deadlift. So the spine stays the same. We hinge forward. So we're going to do a straight leg first. So our legs are straight. It's really up to your hamstrings here how far you go. So if you have really tight hamstrings, you're not going to go very far. You might only go a couple of inches and then you'll feel the back of the leg pull. Or maybe you'll bring your torso parallel to the earth and then lift yourself back up. So a couple of these. Feel free to keep holding onto the chair. If you want more challenge, let go of the chair. Right, so it's a balance challenge, a hamstring stretch, and some strength here in that standing leg. We're hinging forward, and then coming back up. The legs stay straight, so you don't need to make this really big. Don't overdo it, and the spine stays still. That's the most important. We're not bending here in the back for this exercise. There's nothing wrong with bending in the back, but we want to make sure that we can be strong with a straight spine and that we find that range of motion in our bigger joints. Couple more. All right, and then we'll turn around and go the other side. So right hand to the chair or table or wall if you're using support, standing on the left foot. Right foot goes behind us, lifting the foot off the ground. So we're balancing on that left leg. We hinge forward, leg stays straight. Your hamstrings will tell you when to stop. So you feel a lot of pull in the back of the leg, don't go any further, and then come back up. All right, and then standing tall. Grab your weights. We're going into some tricep movements. So we're going to bring our arms all the way up overhead and bend those elbows so the weights are behind us. Elbows try and stay in. So the tendency here is for the elbows to want to splay. That's okay, but we're going to try and keep those elbows in as much as we can. Push those weights up to the ceiling and then bend. Try and go through the full range. So bend all the way, feel those weights touch your back, and then straighten. See if you can keep those elbows pretty high. So my elbows are about head height or temple height. So the tendency also is for those elbows to start to lower down or move forward. If that's the case, that's okay. Maybe you alternate. Maybe you do one arm at a time. Make it a little less challenging. Couple more. May feel some burning in the shoulders as well as the triceps. All right, let's put those weights down, back to those one-legged deadlifts with a straight leg. Woo. All right, so grabbing your chair, your support with your left hand, we're standing on our right. Left foot goes behind us. We're balancing on the right leg. We hinge forward, so flat back, straight leg. So really the hinge point here is what's happening is our pelvis is rolling over our right thigh and then bringing us back up. Again, feeling free to hold onto your support or balance, right? If you want more challenge, let go of the chair. I don't care how far you go, so I don't want you to overdo it. You don't need to overstretch the back of the leg. We're looking for the strength here in that extended position, in that position where your leg is straight, which is hard to do, and where your spine is straight, or your spine is not rounding to go deeper. Couple more. All right, release, shake it off, and we'll switch sides. We're almost there. So now we stand on the left foot, right hand is holding your support if you want that balanced support. We're going into that one-legged deadlift. So standing on that left foot, leg stays strong and straight. We hinge forward, torso stays long. It's like a warrior 3 in yoga if you take mat yoga, and then lift yourself back up. Again, if you want more challenge, let go of the chair, right? It's okay to go and lose your balance and wobble as long as that feels safe, right? Safety is number one, most important. Couple more. All right, and coming up, shake it off. Grab your weights. Last set of these triceps. All right, so grabbing those weights. Also, if you found this really hard, get rid of the weights or just hold one weight. I'll show you how you can do that. So you would just hold one weight between the hands and then bring the arms overhead. That might be a little easier. So if you found that really hard, feel free to do that, adjust. All right, arms go up overhead and bend the elbows. Elbows stay high, right? So they're about head height and close in. Try not to let them flare as you straighten those arms up to the sky and then bend. Go through your full range. Feel free to take breaks if you need them. Or alternate arms or drop one of the weights. Totally okay to do this with one weight. This is hard, right? We're using the same weights that we did for our biceps, for our triceps, and our biceps tend to be much stronger because we use them a lot more. Couple more. And let's put those weights down onto the side. Whew, shake it off. All right, let's take those legs wide. And then bend those knees. So it's sort of a sumo squat. We're going into a twist stretch here in our sumo squat. So legs go wide, we'll bend those knees, hands on your thighs. So you're sort of leaning forward. Those shoulders can creep slightly up towards the ears. You're gonna drop one shoulder forward and twist the spine. So find a little rotation here, twist. And then center and switch. Other shoulder dips forward, rotate, twist. And center, again, shoulder twist. Center, other side. And center coming up. Let's heel toe those feet back towards each other. Go ahead and grab a hold of your chair for support. We're going into one-legged heel raises. So you can hold on with one hand or you can turn and hold on with both hands. So we're sort of combining some of that balance with what we were doing earlier with both feet heel raises. If you think I'm crazy and you're going one-legged heel raises, I can't do that. Do both feet. Do both feet together. Totally fine. So standing on one foot, I'm going to start with my right foot. So standing on the right foot, left foot comes off the ground. We lift up onto the tippy toes and come back down. So again, it's up to you how much support you have for yourself here. You can hold on to your chair. You can hold on to your chair with one or two fingers, or you can try and do it without holding on. So your last exercise here. All right, let's switch feet. Or just keep going if you're doing both feet at once. Lift and lower the heel. Feel free to hold on to your chair or play with trying to balance. All right, heel comes down, shake it off. All right, planting those feet, feeling your feet evenly pushing into the earth, nice long spine. Let's inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling. Exhale, palms touch, lower the hands towards the chest and then back down. Inhale, arms circle out and up, reaching tall. Exhale, hands touch as your hands lower. One more time. Inhale, circle out and up. Exhale, hands touch. Bring them to the heart. Give yourselves awesome work, everybody. So, our move of the week, we did a lot of them. Heel raises. So, I'm going to write it down because otherwise I forget. And I highly recommend you write it down too. Or try and incorporate heel raises throughout your weeks, right? So I'll see you for yoga next week, but then the week after that, I'm going to ask you what is the move of the week. Try and get heel raises into your life. So maybe that's you lifting up onto your tippy toes to put something up in a cabinet, or maybe you're just doing heel raises when you're hanging out around the counter chopping something and you're taking a break from chopping because your hands need a break. Whatever it is, try and get those heel raises in. Sorry, my messy house. I'm gonna write that down for myself. Heel raises. All right, so let's see. Oh, someone was mentioning to me that someone had their hand, or V is telling me here that someone had their hand raised during our workout. So if someone has a question, now's the time to ask. And I'm sorry I missed it during that. When we're doing the workout, I don't always see everybody's screen. I can only see, there are a lot of us here. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I think there are 100 of us here. Wow, that's amazing. So if you had a question during class, feel free to ask now, or if you have a question now, feel free to ask.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. My name is Valerie, and I am totally blind. I was wondering if I had a hard time getting into the call, so I came in late. If you could describe a little bit more how you do each movement, it would help me a little bit. I was kind of frustrated. My cell phone is a phone for the blind, and it doesn't get along with Zoom, so I had to call in on my landline, and it took me about a half an hour.
Oh, Valerie, well, I'm very glad you joined, and I'm sorry that it took so long to get in, but hopefully now you figured out, you now know how to make it work. Is that right? Or do you need some more technical support with that?
Actually, I called the main number for GoGo, and they gave me another number to call, and it went right through. I'm on my landline because the cell phone didn't work for some reason.
Gotcha. So great.
I'm really glad.
And then, yes, I will try next time to give more descriptions when I'm teaching. I totally get that. Definitely in the yoga class, I give a lot more descriptive information as
cool.
teaching. So do know that one's a little bit more accessible in terms of all of the words that I say, but I appreciate you mentioning that. And so I will work on that. I appreciate feedback. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Yeah, Bertha?
Well, you can always go on YouTube and see the class, and that's wonderful.
That is right. Thank you, Bertha, for reminding us. Yes, you can absolutely go on YouTube and access. We record the classes, so you can access them. They usually show up a week later, so but know that that's an option. Thank you for reminding us.
Oh,
Anyone?
how could you access it on YouTube? Is there a link or a website or?
Yeah, there's a link. V, do you mind finding that for us? We'll put it in the
she's on the phone, so I suggest in the email that you receive, we always include the link to our YouTube channel, and every Saturday you receive it as well. So just check your email, and all the information is already provided within the body of the email.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. I didn't know that. That's great.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, V. Any other questions?
I just want to tell you that I've had a lot of yoga classes, but you are the best.
Oh, Shirley, that's so sweet. Thank you.
I had one more question for you.
Yeah.
There's different kinds of yoga, I guess, but for 40 years ago, I was exposed to an Israeli version of this kinetic stuff called Feldenkrais, and I wasn't sure if you heard of that program, because my lifelong learning program here at OU, we that's what we had a fellow that was trained in both the yoga, different versions of yoga, and the Feldenkrais, and he finally got so popular that now he's moved to California, so he's making lots more money than what he was doing when he was helping us. But it really helped me. I used to be a ski racer, and so the tonic and the helping with the eyes and the balance and stuff like that, terrific stuff. So I think your stuff is too, and it helps at this age that we're at and when I was 40 years ago, so to speak. So I commend on it. I'm just curious whether or not you were familiar with it, or if you used any of those techniques in your exercises or your training programs.
I love Feldenkrais. I don't teach it at all, but I like taking classes. And so I draw from it to in a sense, like when I talk about, oh, notice how your body is positioned. I think that's sort of a Feldenkrais-like thing, to just notice where you are in that moment and sense your body. But I don't teach it directly, but I do love it and highly recommend it to anyone who's interested.
Thank you for that comment.
I'm a Feldenkrais lover also. And as a musician, I have to know how to isolate muscles and not use muscles unnecessarily. And that's what Feldenkrais helped with. And this is also very helpful, because a lot of musicians have overuse injuries, and you can avoid that by being thoughtful.
Totally. Yeah, it's having that awareness of how we position our body, how we use our body, what muscles are we using, not to overdo it. The least amount of effort possible for each movement. Well, wonderful, everyone. It's been so lovely having you here today on Wednesday. And so next Wednesday we have yoga. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And have a wonderful rest of the day. And I'll see you next week.